Good evening. Thanks for coming out. So, tonight we're going into storytelling. I'm going to give you a bit more time. There's really only one exercise, but it's got a few stages to it, and I'm going to give you a bit more time to be able to do it because this 10-minute and 20-minute thing there, hurry up. Before I go any further, I already talked to Glenn. I'll have to talk to Francine. Wesley, when you get a chance, can you send me a list of your...
I think I did send you a list.
Oh, you did?
I don't know if you got it, but I sent one.
Oh, really? Maybe we'll check the email to make sure you... If it didn't come back to you, did you send it recently?
Not too recently. I sent it like a day after you sent me the
Oh, really? Because, can you resend just to make sure that I've got it, and then I'll put it in there. Thanks. Things didn't go so well the last few days for the Blue Jays. But it's up against the Yankees, so what do you want? The Leafs did all right last night.
Nail biter.
Yeah. I'm a Habs fan, so it's neither here nor there for me. So, storytelling. What I did is and depending on how much time we got, I always get more material than we need. We might get a chance to look at Lightfoot song and Spanish Train again, just to look at the text and how it's made. And if we do have time, I'll make some photocopies of this one. La complainte du phoque en Alaska. I didn't swear there. That's a seal. I don't play that song in the schools that I go to because it probably wouldn't go over so well. Not with the teachers anyway. By the way, I need to warn you, you're being taped. That they put a bigger microphone, so hopefully ça vous gêne pas. It's going to be. They like to tape the responses. So when you speak, try and speak a little bit louder. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure you knew that.
I really don't care about the recording, all that stuff, but what is the purpose of that?
They actually they put clips online to do promotion and to show like this is
You would have a lot of material to take from.
Oh yeah, no. And if somebody can't make it, we make it available to the people who can't make it. So if ever somebody wanted to, like Francine, she's not here tonight.
Yeah.
If she wanted to look at it, we can give her the YouTube link, and then she can actually do the exercise. So if you miss one, we're already up to the 4th. So en principe, we're kind of like the halfway mark. We're doing 10, but it's actually 8 where we're analyzing and doing exercises. The last 2 we'll really be concentrating on, and we'll probably be starting before then. What I want to do, though, give you an idea of the end game, is in the next few, like especially next week, we'll be looking at song structures. We're going to start doing a collective song together, at least so you get one go at it before you actually do your own thing. Vous me comprenez comme il faut? Ouais? Oui. Ouais, parfait. Je vais juste faire certain que... Ouais, c'est beau. So yeah, storytelling. If I have time, I've got an extra one. We'll do photocopies of that one. But I got 2 to start off with. And like all of you, when you made your list of songs, it's not easy to pick, 10 or 20 songs when you know so many good songs and you go, holy geez, I got to pick 20 songs from the thousands that I like. So it's not any easier for me when I was picking the songs for the workshop. And so what I decided with this one for the storytelling, is I've got one really short one. So it's to show you that we can say a whole bunch of stuff in very little time. Okay? You can tell a story in 3 verses. And actually, these have choruses. So storytelling songs, like I said, some of them have choruses, some of them don't. like Yarmouth Castle, Edmund Fitzgerald, okay? Those, they don't have a chorus in. If I was going to take in French, Martin de la Chasse-Galerie. In French, Martin de la Chasse-Galerie, il n'y a pas vraiment de refrain. See, it's a story all the way through. So that one is the short one. And then the other one, the next one, is Harry Chapin, who I consider probably one of the masters of storytelling in song. Like he practically his whole career was based on storytelling songs. He's got a few that aren't, but most of his albums are all storytelling songs. And he does it amazingly. So I took a really long one. And what's nice with this one, excuse me, The Mayor of Kinder Lied, it's like almost like a book where it kind of builds up, and at the very end, that's where you get the punch. Don't look at the ending. Okay? I really want you to because with the music, it just gives it so much of an impact. It's a bit like Anik was saying with Spanish Train, very theatrical. Well, the music is not theatrical, but very dramatic for that song. But before we go I think that's it. Any questions? And don't forget, if you ever have any questions, comments, suggestions, I'm always open. And actually, you're suggesting that for the list of songs, I think that's great, because then we all get to discover some stuff. I'll add mine after I've got everybody's. I'm only missing a couple of people, and then after that I'll be able to send them out to you. So without further ado, some of you would know who Johnny Winter is. For those of you who don't, Johnny Winter is more of a blues guy, blues rock guy. But he wrote this song called Ain't Nothing to Me. And it's really country. Like the friend of mine who made me, we're musicians, hey, did you ever hear that song? Okay, so go on YouTube, and you can find almost anything on YouTube now. So I looked it up, and holy jeez, that's a country tune. Johnny Winter right away, I thought that's going to be a blues or a rock, but really country. And well, here we go. Take your drink to the end of the bar, buddy. Come on now, don't you be a fool. I'd rather have the hot seat and Sing Sing Prism than to sit down beside her on that stool. What's that you say? Well, I guess you're right. Ain't nothing to me. See that man? She belongs to him, buddy. Drink up and leave while you can. I can tell by the way he looks at you, buddy. He's sure one quick-tempered, jealous man. What's that you say? Well, I guess you're right. It ain't nothing to me. It ain't nothing to me. There you are, all stretched out on the floor, buddy. You see what you made him do. They're coming to take him to the jailhouse, buddy. And tomorrow someone's gonna bury you. Oh, well, that's life. For you, at least it was. It ain't nothing to me. 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 You weren't nothing to me. Yeah. I'll see. Yeah. I love that song. Well, actually, we're practicing for, in LaFontaine, there's a new little cafe called Tiny Hub. Local girls that are starting it. And I told them, well, when you do your grand opening, I'll play. And then I started talking to some friends, and so we put up a show. We put a show together. Actually, that band will probably be playing at the festival this year. So it's a mix of French, English, blues, country. And the bass player is the one who turned me on to this song. It's an amazing song. But you see how you can say so many things in just so little time. He tells a whole story there. They're at the bar, you know, and he sees this guy who's, you know, how would you say it? Flirting with...
Hitting on.
Yeah, what's that?
Hitting on a woman.
Yeah, hitting on a woman. There. Anyway, and he can see because, you know, he sees that this other guy's looking at him. You know, he's going, hey, what are you doing there? You know, and then the second verse, that's where he says, the ain't nothing to me. You know, it's like the guy tells him that at the beginning. You know, don't bother me. You know, so he goes, okay, it ain't nothing to me, ain't nothing to me. And then the second verse, again, he tries to warn him and says, hey, that guy there, you're messing with his girlfriend. I don't think he likes it very much. And then the second verse, again, the guy says, you know, what's that you say?
Is it like the verse it's like a dialogue, and the chorus is the other guy's?
Sort of. See, take your drink. It's the guy who's sitting there watching this.
Yeah.
He's the one who's like that, le narrateur, the narrator. So he's the one who says, take your drink to the end of the bar. Come on, don't be a fool. Okay? I'd rather have the hot seat in Sing Sing prison. It's a well-known prison in the States, than to sit down beside her on that stool. So the guy, this guy, he's the one who replies, what's that you say?
I don't bother.
Yeah, what's that you say? Well, I guess you're right. It ain't nothing to me. So that guy is telling him, you know, leave me alone. So the singer answers that. Okay, what's that you say? It ain't nothing to me. Okay, so, you know, I'll leave it alone. But then he comes in with the second verse and gets a little bit more, you know, goes a little further in his warning. And that's why he says, I can tell by the way he looks at you, so he's probably sitting a little further away from her. And he's not looking too pleased there at you hitting on his girlfriend. And then the guy comes back and he says, what's that you say? You know, the other guy, he's saying, what are you saying? And then so he goes, well, I guess you're right. It ain't nothing to me. Then in the third verse, wow, yeah, and you don't know that from the first line, okay? The first line he says, there you are all stretched out on the floor, buddy. You know, he could have maybe beat him up. Then the second line, you see what you made him do? Say that he's telling him. He's talking to the guy on the floor. You see what you made him do? they're coming to take him to the jailhouse, buddy. Now you start to get, and like if you've never heard this song before, you're starting to go, oh, this is serious. And then the last line is the punchline. And tomorrow someone's going to bury you. So then you know, like he confirms the evidence that he's not just laying on the floor because he got knocked out. It's because he's not getting up, ever. And, oh, well, that's life, you know. And the for you, at least it was, that's me. He in the original version, he says, oh, at least it was. But for me, and that's, what can I say, poetic license. I took a poetic license because I was singing it and all of a sudden that line came to me and I said, okay, well, I'll write that down. If I ever recorded it, obviously I'd have to ask for the rights to be able to just change that one line. And I'd probably get it. As long as you don't ask, well, can I have part of the royalties? They're probably going to say, go ahead, sing it the way you want, you know? So that's why I said, for you, at least it was. It ain't nothing to me. And then it finishes like that. But, so it's just to say, it's a build-up. If you're going to go in that direction, and you can, and it can be a personal experience. You could tell a story. Obviously, it's like legends. When you write a legend, let's forget about song, just let's say you write a legend. Based on something you lived, you're going to add to it to make it more interesting, more exciting, more dramatic, more, you know, maybe more funnier, you know, if you want to make a funny song. So try, if you decide to go in that route, it's got a kind of a logical sequence, you know. Yarmouth Castle, if we get a chance, we'll go back over that. But when it starts, the boat, remember Yarmouth Castle? The boat's leaving, and it's an old boat. And it's leaving, and then it's everything that happens on the ocean until it goes down. And then, while they rescued, actually, most of the people, so it's not too bad. But, and the punchline, it's not necessary, but that's the way this is built. You know, he gives you that punchline right at the end. And in this next song, it's going to be even more predominant when you hit the punchline. But I want you to follow it as it goes. Actually, Harry Chapin, I don't think, the only videos you could find of him are all live videos. Back then, there was no internet or YouTube, and you know, much music I don't think was even there yet. Maybe when this album was made, but he never went that direction. And this is a personal opinion. I find some people, we've lost the art of listening because we have everything given to us visually, videos, you know. And sometimes watch the video and read the words, and it just doesn't add up. The storyboard isn't the same, the story in the song, but video is something else. And you know, they do it for the visual effects. Last week's song, the Bare Naked Ladies, you know, it doesn't really pertain to the song that much. It's just about them and the Starsky and Hutch thing where he slides over the car and this and that. Anyway, so I think we could go, because the reason I want to give you more time is we're going to be doing an exercise of writing a story song. Obviously, you're going to be writing it without the advantage of music. You know, you won't have the melody and that stuff. But I've given you tools that you can use, and I'll get to that in it. I'll go into the details of the exercise. But, so without, we'll maybe turn the lights down a little bit. And not that you can watch the video. You're going to be following this. Just a second. So, est-ce qu'il y a des questions? Is there any questions at all, either about this song or some of the stuff I said? We're good?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, we're going to get this going. And comme j'ai dit, suivez, just follow it along, and we'll talk about it after. But that's what freaked me out with this song when he said Johnny Winter, and I went and listened to it. Like, this is a country dude, and it's really country. So, just goes to show a good artist can step outside of his genre and still do a good job. There we go. Touché! It's just
Too much.
Oh yeah, too much. No, but it's such a well-crafted song and story at the same time. Like we could get into all the musical, like just the words are one thing, but there's the music that goes with it, and the drama and the strings and they're just placed at the right spot. That's in music they call it the arrangements. For those of you, les arrangements musicaux. Dans cette chanson-là, they blow me away. First time I heard that song, it just actually a friend of mine had again, you always kind of get turned on to something new by somebody else, and he had that album in his car, and man, we listened to that album over and over again, and this was wow. There's a few good songs on that album, but this is a masterpiece. So you got the at the end when t'as-tu compris à la fin qu'est-ce qui est arrivé?
Yeah, so I guess he never wanted her daughter to go with him because they were like half brother sister.
Yeah, because and there's like a clin d'œil. There's a little hint of that when he sees, like in the first part of the song, he sees his mother. As she jumped back from his arms, I look into my mother's eyes. He goes out in the country to see the father. That's in One Day with Father on His Tractor and Mother Off Again. That's hard to say verses because there's like bridges in between. Yeah, but then he says he finds him in the countryside where he's not alone. And they're probably sitting on a bench. And so that's why when he gets there, he says, as she jumped back from his arms, I look into my mother's eyes. So he's all surprised. And that's where he makes the deal with him. He says, wow, your run for re-election is coming up. So I'm going to be with your daughter. And you better not say anything because il veut se faire réélire. He wants to get re-elected. So he's not going to say anything. So he shuts up. But what he does, and that's where it gets a bit. The mother, she's going, my mother looks in horror at the compromise we made because she knows they're half brother and sister. So the mother is like, hey, you can't do this. But the mayor, he's working this out all through the whole thing. He's a sly one. So c'est comme un renard. He's just sly as a fox. And then in the second page, that's where he takes her off. He takes her overseas. Yeah, so probably Europe. She stays there. Well, she stays there. He says that it was the decision is her own. On the album, it is her own. When I found the text online, it was written was her own. That's why I kind of put a little slash. The original version is her own, but the rest of it was good. That's why it's better if you're going to go look at songs, at the words of a song. It's better to go to, if they have one, and most artists do, is the official website, because then you don't have somebody's interpretation of it. So he sent her off to school, And he says, you'll never see her again. So now, and that's where, I don't know if you there's a solo, okay? Between the time that, what was to happen then, the prophets could not tell. He goes into a solo. So he leaves some space happen there before he comes into the day after his re-election. There's a victory celebration, and that part is really like a march. Think I'm in MASH, they won, okay? And then that's where he takes them off, and that's where he sings "O Colleen." That's the romantic part. You know how much I love you. And then when they come back, that's where he says, I'm looking at the car, and of course she isn't there. Of course I should have known. And then he says, wow, the decision was her own. Probably not. Unless the father told his daughter, he's your brother, you can't go back. Which is possible. You've got to sort of read between the lines. It's like a movie almost in a song. Not as detailed, but yes, it is in a way.
You've overlooked the part where he allowed the two of them to have a month in heaven, knowing that they were half siblings.
Well, yeah, and that you know what that could have made another kid that was. But we're assuming.
The reason he disappeared.
We're assuming from this. That they probably didn't have a kid together. He doesn't go into that detail here. You'd need the movie. You need the movie version for that. So he gets mad in that other spot. You know, I spit out my hatred and I furies at his lies. So and then the father says, you're just as bad as me, because you wanted to make a deal, you know? And then that's when he says, as I look into his leering, aged, wrinkled mirror of my own face, then you know what's coming. That's where he sets it up. Then he says, he laughs and sneers, dear son, where do you think you came from in the first place?
But there was foreshadowing. The daughter foreshadowed this in verses before that.
Yeah.
Where she said, you're just like me. I love you because...
At the beginning. Yeah, at the beginning. And if you know what it makes me think too, and you hear this often, and it might be a stereotype, but they say often women marry their fathers and men marry their mothers. It's a stereotype, but it is a saying that you no doubt heard. So that's possible that sort of idea went into that line. But it's true that he kind of gives des clins d'œil, little hints.
Et en psychologie, là, c'est pas une question de you want to marry your father or mother. It's the Gestalt. It's psychotherapy. You talk to your therapist about that. You marry your mother, you marry your father because you're trying to resolve something from childhood.
Yeah. And along those lines in philosophy, the Oedipus complex, where the son falls in love with his mother. It's kind of in here, in a roundabout way. But like I said, and I don't want you to start comparing it. If you decide to go down the route of writing a storytelling song, don't compare yourself to Harry Chapin. Do you guys know any of his Taxi? If you ever get a chance, listen to that. That's another good stereo, and it's really long, and it's about this guy who ends up driving a taxi, and his ex-girlfriend gets in, and she's rich now, and it's that story that goes. But it's again by this guy, Harry Chapin. He's got humorous ones though too. 30,000 pounds of bananas. That's an amazing song. Another storytelling tune, and a lot of them are like 7, 8, 10 minutes long, but they're so well crafted that you get sucked into the story, and you don't realize how long the song. That song is over 8 minutes long, and you don't even see it go by. It's just, but because musically there's lots happening, and the story is amazing.
Have you heard Harry's song Sequel?
Geez, that's
It's a sequel that he wrote many years after.
sequel to Taxi.
Yeah, sequel to Taxi.
Okay.
I was playing euchre with friends about a week ago, and they had music in the background, and I sat up and I go, that's sequel. I hadn't heard the song since it was first recorded, which was about, I don't know, what, 35, 40 years ago, before he passed.
Yeah. Actually, he was in an accident.
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
hit by a tanker and killed.
Yeah. One of his first, I think it's on his first album. It's called Sniper, and there was in the States there was a tragedy with a guy who was up in a building shooting, a bit like what happened in Las Vegas, but years ago. And his first big storytelling song is that. And there's like if you go online, you'll see him sing it live, and that's a powerful song. I didn't want to go there because it's really alarming, and because he's so good at it. He brings you there. It's as if you're right there with the sniper. And probably what didn't help me when I heard it is that Las Vegas had just happened not long, so it kind of rings into when you can relate it to reality, to true life stuff. It's so much more powerful. But not saying that this isn't. That this is a powerful song, even if it's a figment. You know, this could happen. You know, it could. Okay, let's see how much time we have. Perfect. We got, because I'd like to have a time at the end so that we can share. So the way I've structured this exercise. Sometimes I get inspired for the exercises, just to let you know. Sometimes I get inspired by things I've done before. Sometimes I love to research stuff. I used to work in a radio station. I love to work with CFLH. And I just love to go and find out more. And sometimes when I'm writing songs, I do that. Sometimes I get into the rabbit holes, and then it's like, oh, I got to get out of this, man. I'm wasting too much time here. But it's a good way, especially if you're going to do storytelling. Research is really good. What we're going to do, you don't have the benefits, well, except for Wesley, who's got his computer. But I don't want you to use too much time researching. So the idea is, what's the first thing you're going to do? You got it, okay? And you can come here and pick a theme. If Nadine and Julie, if you want, I can bring this closer for the themes. But if you want to, just go off, do the exercise again, or maybe you've got something in mind right now, So pick a theme. That's the first thing, because then that way no writer's block. Boom, you got a theme. Second part. Okay, and I'm really a stickler, I think they say, when it comes to the second part, is brainstorm ideas. Once you get that theme, brainstorm some ideas, okay, before you even think of writing a sentence. Sure, songs sometimes will come to you, and boom, you'll write it. Some of the great big hits have been written in like 10, 15 minutes, but those things don't happen that often. It's just like a bolt of lightning. Not too many people get hit by a bolt of lightning. So sometimes that happens. Most of the time it doesn't. And especially in the setting we're in, I want you to come out of here with something. So you pick a theme, you brainstorm it. Maybe, just ideas, a sentence, images, words, anything, okay? After that, okay, next step is you write a paragraph. You don't write the song yet. You take those ideas that you just brainstormed and you write a paragraph. Like as if you were going to write a paragraph for a book, okay? Obviously, your story is going to have to be fairly short because we don't have a lot of time. So make your paragraph not too long, but after the last step in this, okay, is you take that paragraph and then you're going to put it in poetry. So what I want you to do, because you don't have the benefits, this is one thing that you can do. Once you get to that, if you want to give yourself a structure, we can do what we did last week. Take a song that you know, but don't let it be a, pour toi, ça t'a bloqué. It was a blocking. So don't let it block you. But I would really like you to try it and installer, make a structure. Like, you know how we did the 7 syllables? It doesn't have to be all 7 or 10 or whatever. Norm, you went 7/8, 7/8. You can do something like that, okay? With your sentences, just so that it has a structure. And if you want to rhyme, if you want to rhyme, go with that. If you don't, I'm not stuck with the, you have to rhyme, okay? Okay, I see, before you start, I see Mike. Okay, this is in high school, okay?
I get too tired to even think.
Oh, well, yeah, just try and maybe think of something that when you were a kid, or something you've seen in the news lately, or anything. Just something that'll get you going. The idea isn't to write the perfect song. I'm not expecting Ain't Nothing to Me or a Mare of Candlelight, okay? Because it takes time to write songs like that, okay? Most of the time. So theme, brainstorm, okay? So right away, if to help you, get that theme down, and then do the brainstorming, but not in a paragraph. The reason I say that is because I want you to just get ideas onto the sheet, so that when you get to the paragraph, you can start to structure it, and then you're going to structure even more, because then you're going to put it into verse. Last thing, you can put a chorus if you want. That's totally up to you. If you want to put a chorus or a refrain, I'm fine with that. If you don't, that's cool too. Okay? But try and have at least a structure of like a poem. And if you have rhymes, bonus. If not, I'm not marking these, so so there's no exam at the end. C'est beau? Any questions? Hey?
How long the song was?
Try and get as far as you possibly can, so that there's a story. I'll give you an example. That's three verses. You can tell a story in 3 verses, okay? But that's why that first part that I'm talking about is so important, is brainstorm and get a paragraph. So that you have, if you've never written a story before, you need, tu sais, c'est comme journaliste, who, what, when, where, why. You need characters, you need a beginning, a middle, un dénouement, okay? And then the end, a conclusion. And then after you've got that paragraph, it'll be a lot easier for you to put it into verses.
Oh, the paragraph you ask for is like it's like an abstract of the.
It's a mini story. Okay, let's say I picked the city of Toronto. Okay, something happened to me in the city of Toronto. So I write the city of Toronto, and then I start writing all kinds of ideas, sentences, words, whatever. Then I write my little story. Okay, when I was in the city of Toronto, what happened to me again? And then you put des personnages, and then you take that paragraph and put it into like comme un poème. C'est beau? And I'm not going to really time you on this. I'll like in we're almost at 5 to 8. So I'll check with you in about 8:30. It gives you a little more than a half an hour. And if we need more time, this isn't a rush thing. But I'd really like you to try and get a story down. C'est beau? So how we doing? It's 8:35. Les filles, comment ça s'en vient? On a assez juste pour même si c'est pas tout fait, even if it's not all done, it might be something you want to pursue later or
No, I want to bury this.
would you have enough to present something, even if it's...
Yes, but it's so pathetic, I don't know if I'd want.
Oh.
Let Randy go first.
Yeah, you don't have to. Don't forget, this is totally voluntary.
It may be voluntary, but if you don't, what's the point?
Yeah, well, okay, that's a good, that's a good point, that's a good point. Nadine, Julie, n'avez-vous
J'ai
assez?
besoin de 3 autres jours de travail, merci.
C'est bon.
Non, j'ai quelque chose.
OK, non, c'est beau. Même si c'est juste quelque chose, Julie, un petit peu.
Oh oui, j'ai quelque chose que je...
OK.
C'est juste le début, par exemple.
Bon, mais non, c'est pas grave. L'idée, c'est de faire l'exercice. So the idea is really to try the exercise. Because like I said, I'm trying to give you all different types of tools so that when you do sit down to write your own poem or song, you can decide which direction you want to take. Like next week, we'll be looking at something else. We still have the song structures next week. And if you want a little bit of an idea of where we're going with this, I've got them somewhere here. Song structure, then the next week after that will be protest songs and social statements. So stuff that's a bit more, Voilà. Ça, c'est, yeah, well, yeah, and at one time in the 60s and part of the 70s, the protest song was kind of it was a way of getting things, out there and expressing yourself. That's why we're here, right? Obviously, love songs, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time, but we're going to touch on them. Because it's, like I said, it's 99% of the songs that are written are either about falling in love or falling out of love, one or the other. And in the 8th week, I've got humorous songs. But then we're not necessarily going to do this type of an exercise for all of these, because what I want us to do is get, we'll look at some of these, and then we'll start working a song together. So we'll actually do a collectif, comment je dirais ça? Yeah, collaborative song, where we're all going to pitch in on one song. And then, depending on where we are, like even when we're, say by the time we're at the love songs or whatever, we might be almost done our collaborative song, or we'll keep working on it. And I want to give you guys time to start working on your stuff, because then while we're in here, we've got up to 10 weeks. And I'm totally cool with doing the whole 10 weeks, but the last 2 weeks would really be more finishing the collaborative song and you guys working on your own thing. Which you can start on your own, I'm totally open. But anyway, there we are. Donc, on fait le tour? So, we'll start in the computer. The girl's in the box today. So, Julie, c'est ta première fois dans la boîte, fait qu'on va te laisser aller en premier.
Oh, great. So, do you want me to explain the whole
Oh,
thing?
yeah, you know what? That you just hit on a really good one there. Before you start to give us your verses, give us an idea of what the story is, okay? Before you actually get into your verses. So then we'll know where you were going if you didn't get to the end of it, at least we'll know where you were headed. Good point.
Okay, so my idea was, if, that someone asked me, what would I do if I knew that the end of the world was coming in 20 minutes? And how would I spend that last bit of time, I don't know, before? it's
Okay.
all done? So my thought is to write it, well, I'll start it and then I'll tell you where I think I would go with the rest of it.
Okay.
So it starts with, when I asked what I would do if the world was coming to an end, how would those last 20 minutes be lived? How would my time be spent? Without hesitation, my thoughts went right to you. The strength of your arms, the comfort of your chest. Oh, honey, how I love you. Snuggled and warm in our bed, like so many nights we've done over the last 30 years, my dear, what else would I wish for? I lay in your arms so many years ago, planning our life together, wondering where our paths would go. Your warm breath in my hair, and then I'm planning on kind of going through the different feelings that I have, and bringing up something that we lived together in our lives, like whether it was, you know, having a baby or being exhausted from being a mom or excited about a new job or going through what a couple or what some couples have lived together, and then kind of finishing again with that idea of just spending that time reminiscing and kind of really being happy about the life that we lived together.
Yeah, that's good. This is a suggestion. You don't have to take, you can take it or leave it. But I like the idea of how you're looking at the end of the world. What would be nice is once you get to when you go full circle, and when you get to the end, this is the way I would finish my last, and I'm just throwing that out there. This is the way we'd finish our last days or whatever.
Okay.
You know, it's just an idea. You can take it wherever you want.
No.
But it just came to me, and I figured, and then you might want to ponder. You might want to keep it going too. What you just did.
It was very, very good. The start of this was very good.
Yeah. No, and you got a few rhymes in there. See, and that's where rewriting. Okay, once you do this first, le premier jet, the first time. Often it's not. You know, some people say, that's my song and I'm not changing it. You know, and you can do that. But it's nice to put it aside. You write it out, put it aside, and then come back to it with a fresh, 2 weeks later or whatever. And you might be surprised where you're going to go with it. And it might also click rhymes and stuff. That's where rhyming books.
Or a better cadence or a better.
Yeah, that kind.
First, you just kind of have to figure out what we want to put out there.
Yeah, that's when you get into more technical stuff. And now with computers, you don't need a dictionary. I need a rhyme for anything. What rhymes with today, and then you'll find all the rhymes and one word might fit in there. You know what I mean? So, good job. Nazim.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so this is a song about a guitar. Well, not really. It's about a guy who has a guitar. And it's a true story. The guitar is really part of him, but he had to hawk it because he had no money. And his buddies in the band saw the guitar in the hawk shop window, for real. And they went like, that's stolen because there's no way that guy would ever part with his guitar. So the guys in the band put a collection together with all the other musicians, and they bought the guitar back, and they gave it to him for Christmas.
Okay.
Now, he still, I know the guy, I know the guitar, he still has the guitar, and he's dying. He doesn't know what to do with it.
Oh.
So it's the story of how his whole life was with this guitar and how he lost her, got her back. And then I finished the story about, in the song I finish it, that he gives the guitar to buddy who bought it back to keep her going. So she lives on and he's dead.
Okay, so you have any of the
I'm going to try to be more poetic.
No. So you don't have verses, actually
I do, my rhymes are the shits and the kings.
Oh, don't worry, don't worry. Yeah, that's it, like I said, usually you get the skeleton done, and then you go back and you play with the rhymes, and you play with okay, that maybe, so give us what you got.
My middle name is Perfectionist.
Sometimes, okay,
Kinda hard to do.
Nadine,
Okay.
once in a while you gotta drop that perfectionism. Just to let,
I'll also drop ego and humility. Let's just don't get embarrassed altogether.
that's right. Don't forget, the name of these workshops is Express Yourself. Okay?
Okay.
There.
All right. So I'll just go ahead and read what I wrote in the last half hour.
Give her.
He was only 16 when he saw her. She brought out all the best things. When he touched her strings, she sang with him songs of love, hope, and living. Once a man, he joined a band with buddies Jim and Dan. Together they played gigs and bars and one night stands. And still she played with him songs of love, fun, and something that rhymes with that. Hard living and rock and roll, with time took their toll. Bad health and no money to pay, he played her less and less every day. She would strum with him tomorrow, songs of love, souvenirs, and sorrow. That fall he took her to the big city, his heart shattering on the way. He knew he had to leave her, he had the rent to pay. Put her in the pawnbroker's hands, riding home, the radio played other bands. That Christmas he had the rent, but a hole where his soul had been. When Jimmy saw her in the hawk shop window, he knew something was amiss, something.
Yeah, okay.
He bought her back with, and there was he didn't have the money, but he bought her back to give him back his honey. It was too late for him that winter. His money, health, and time were spent. He left her to Jimmy for the kindness he had shown, and Jimmy sang on with her one last song to remember him, a song of love, peace, and freedom. Something like that.
Yeah, no, you've got the start of something right there. Yeah, no, it sounds good. You like you said, there's pieces missing, but you just keep working at it.
If we ever sing it, I'm planning on singing it at a funeral. Will you play?
Well, it's going to need music.
He even play his guitar. I swear, Michel, I don't know the plan.
Yeah. We'll talk about it. How's that? But no, that you got the idea. That's exactly it. The story. And what's fun is you both of you have you went into yourselves, your life, a story you heard or a story you lived, and that's the whole idea behind expressing yourself. No, it's good. Okay, so back to the room. We start with Randy. Well, we start with yeah, okay.
You said you wanted to start last.
I'd rather be embarrassed after you.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, the story is of immigrants that landed in the east coast of the United States in 1863 and traveled to California.
Okay.
We came upon this mighty land in 1863 with nothing but our hope and Beth, born of wife and me. The West, they said, was where to be to find the promised land. We dreamed about the peaceful land where together we would stand. We traveled through the timbered hills, thick as matted fur. Insects bit our faces, branches cut our hands. Surely God would get us through and grant us some reprieve, but that was not the miracle that we would soon receive. There were rocks and streams and rivers fast, and beaver, mink, and bear, and man could live by his wits alone on the produce that God placed there. Our prayers were finally answered. We came to open land, but soon we faced a new fear when all we seen was sand. Wagons moving slowly, horses nearly dead. We traveled by the midnight sky and slept the day instead. Sickness came upon us, hunger, lack of bread. Many days were filled with tears burying the dead. And on that trail, a tiny grave marked with stones and cross, there we left our baby Beth, our greatest loss. On the 100th day, a feature did, 100th day, about 100
day, a powder feature did appear, mountains high with pearly peaks pulling us near. Past the great white mountains came the promised land, fields of grass and clover where pine and poplar stand. As far as
Yeah, oh, that's far as you got. That's pretty good. That's as far as I got.
You should have been
But-
an English teacher.
Yeah, you might want to take it. There was just a few places where the cadence kind of went off, but most of the time it was fairly structured. So for a composer, okay, it's easier to work with something that has some kind of a structure. You know what I mean? Because it's more like a poem, and it just kind of flows out. And that's the trick. When you write that first, you might not have that cadence. But as you work it out, and you find a rhyme, and you do this, and you do that, and you play around with it, and be flexible. I know Nadzin said something about perfectionism. You got to let yourself just kind of go. Go with the flow. Not just go with the flow. I use this a lot. This is something I thought of years ago. I like to go with my flow, and that makes a whole difference because you're going with the way you're flowing. Okay, I got this. Boom, 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 and then you'll hit a wall. Sooner or later, you'll hit a wall. Then you stop. Read it over. Okay, and if you don't feel inspired, put it aside. Come back to it. A lot of writers will do that. Sometimes they'll have songs that have been sitting there for years, and all of a sudden they'll pull it out and bang, and it just comes, My goodness.
Tonight, the river is dry.
Yeah.
There is no flow.
Yeah. Well, the flow comes with
Oh, yeah.
just doing it.
Okay, but
Yeah.
this is my feeble attempt.
Okay, tell us the story first.
Okay, the
And-
story is about the cows don't wait. Now, what the hell is that all about? Well, when I was a kid, maybe 5 years old, Dad would open the stairway door and said, "Hurry up, we're late. The cows don't wait." The cows had to be milked at a certain time.
Okay.
Therefore, now, I should have incorporated Dad coming to the stairway every morning and saying the same thing, "Hurry up, we're late." We were always late, even though it was about 2 minutes to 6 every morning we were late. Now, I missed that, I just thought of it, that's why I missed it. But anyway, it's about the stupid cows not waiting. This is my story, sad but true. Just how poor we all were. Mom would cut a chiclet in two, but only if we had done all the work, but that's not very right. To the barn at 6 I went, because after all, cows don't wait. Walked to school, must have been a mile. Back to the barn at 4 again, because after all, the cows don't wait. Rosary time at 6 p.m. sharp. Piano practice till 8. Homework from 8 to 9. To bed I went, to be up at 6, because after all, the cows don't wait. The nuns, they taught us how to play. For the $6 baby bonus, my mom would pay $6 a month. Just like today, I have no time to finish this song and include some rhyme.
Okay, you said like you said stuff at the beginning. If I were you, what hit me right away was the father coming to the stairs and always saying, we're late, the cows don't wait." That's your chorus right there. Bang.
Exactly.
Right there.
Exactly, but it just hit me.
Oh, yeah. No, it just hit you, but you can use it. You can come
Yes,
back and
yes,
do
yes,
it.
yes.
And for me, that's the first thing that struck me, because the image of seeing Dad at the bottom of the stairs or at the door saying, we're late, the cows don't wait. it's just, it just sets up such a good chorus. It's like the other one. And I'll come back to another expression you came out with a few workshops ago. The township of no and the county of never.
I'm working on that one, that's the protest.
Yeah, but that's what I mean by a chorus,
Yeah.
okay? It's kind of the message, and then you let that message drive the song. You let it drive the verses. And then sometimes, there'll be sentences you'll go, I can't do that. That's not right. So you flip it around, or you play with it. That's what it's like a painter. Painters play with colors, while writers play with words, poetry, or songs, or
But
whatever.
that was our life. 6 o'clock sharp, down
Yeah.
on our knees, 6 kids and the parents, you say the rosary, if someone mumbled, you had to say it twice.
Somebody mumbled.
If you mumbled, if you squirmed, if you did anything,
The rosary.
you had to do it. Oh, sometimes we said the rosary 3 times because someone snickered or someone went like this,
yeah.
sibling. 6 kids.
Yeah, you bet. That's what it is.
C'est la vie.
No, good job.
No, well,
I think.
Mine is, I think I need time to work on it. It's an acquaintance more so it's a little bit difficult to put myself in this person's shoes, but essentially it's a young woman who became a mother of 2 young daughters from 2 different people, had addiction issues, ended up passing away by this crazy opioid crisis, so accidentally passing away.
Okay.
And then recently, like last summer, an Amber Alert that I received, and that everybody here received, was for these kids. So I'm trying to write it in the way where it's like I'm not sure if I'm writing from her perspective or from her mom's perspective, because she's the one who triggered the Amber Alert. So anyways, I'm just working on that, but the kids were taken by their dad. So the chorus that I wrote, and I'm writing this in English because they were Anglophone, so the chorus that I wrote was from her perspective, but also whatever the dad, who was also addicted, was
Okay.
doing to the kids as he was leaving with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one more trip, just one more ride, let's make it quick, run away and hide. So in like both worlds, she was trying to sort of escape reality.
Yeah.
He's doing the same with the kids sort of thing. So
Okay.
he's saying the same thing, but I'm just trying to lay the story.
Okay. Did you know this person?
I know the brother of this woman.
Okay, you didn't know the woman.
Not personally, so it's harder to like.
Yeah, to get in there.
imagine her.
Then you have to start imagining.
Yeah.
That's where it is.
And I think that's where my block is that I didn't know her enough to be able to.
Yeah, and another approach you could take is not just having one perspective. You could actually, if you're going to invent, why not go all the way and invent the perspective of the mother, the mother of the 2 kids, the grandmother. That's the grandmother and the kid and the kids.
Yeah.
You could have the kids and the guy. So then you'd really have 4 different perspectives in one song. It would be different blocks, so different verses.
Yeah.
And it'd be a challenge, but
But it's a good idea because I'm struggling. I was writing from the mom's perspective and then the kid, and yeah.
so that's when you take a sheet for each one,
Yeah.
and then you try and invent it. And if I was that person, how would I feel? What would I do? Remember, the senses are really important in any art.
Yeah.
Like feeling, smelling, all that. And it helps to inspire, it helps to inspire, to get things going.
Okay.
But that's a part, and I'm just making a suggestion. You
But
can,
it's exactly what you said, because when I saw that Amber Alert as a parent of young children the same age, it's like my heart just fell into my stomach. So it's exactly that. Capture those.
Another angle is you could do it from your perspective.
Yeah. Okay.
That's another way of going at it. Only you'll know that.
Yeah. Okay.
Beau travail, yeah, good.
Well, I don't know if I'm proud or if I'm ashamed of this thing. It's kind of very dark. I don't endorse that. Can you see that? Endorser.
Ouais.
I don't know what's going on there. I try to have a structure, but don't have really. So it's about two friends who fell apart. One is in prison, it's me. And there's a famous friend and another one in prison. And we're gonna see why one is in prison and why the other one is famous. So I can't really tell what's going on there. Here he comes to see if I'm fine. The rich and famous friend of mine. He comes on his own, walks like a ton to see his forget friend in prison. It must have been 10 years since he fooled me and started his career. He's got millions of fans, he's a star, and he's got a friend behind the bar. My love was named Ashley, which is the name of my girlfriend, sorry. My love was named Ashley, and he easily took her from me. I must have known that we were a buddy. I must have known that we were a buddy, only until the beauty comes between him and me. Even then, I could not hate him. Like brothers, he was Joe and I was Jill. Back then, he was already the famous one. The fun we had together was bare to none. As you probably guessed, I'm not guilty of putting a knife in his chest. In seducing her, I could not have been surprised less. My trust was in her and my knife through her dress.
And what? What's the last? What's?
In seducing her, I could not have been surprised less. My trust was in her and my knife through her dress. So I killed her. It's very dark. I don't know why. He is my old famous buddy, visiting me in jail, telling me that he's not happy about selling his soul to hell. After a few laughs and a few stories, I suddenly realized that even if the one in prison is me, my friend will never be free.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't expecting that at the end. It's dark, but it is what it is. You know, it's
Maybe I was inspired by the Harry Chapin thing. Pretty kind of.
Oh, the Harry
the two of them.
Oh, yeah, well, it ain't nothing to me. That would be a longer version of it, but
Yeah.
but it no you that's not like so. Yeah, no, that was good. Yeah, and you didn't see you chose to not put a refrain. Voilà, no chorus.
I was at the table. It was so hard to, very hard to.
No, but you don't have to put a chorus in a storytelling song. You don't have to put a chorus. Actually, no, it's probably 50-50 there. Some of them put a chorus, some of them don't. But no, and it doesn't always have to be happy. I mean, where she's going with that song, that's going to be fairly dark. Unless you decide to, and we will see that with humorous songs. Sometimes people will take a very serious subject and make it humorous. So, it all depends on how you want to. And your personality too, that it kind of comes out in there. No?
Protest song.
Protest song.
For the last while, I've been thinking, I'm not sure the world is a safer place than it's now than it ever was. You know, it seems crazier every time
you bet.
Turn on the news, things are crazy. So since the dawn of man, there's always been, in every civilization you've ever seen, one who seizes a position of power, eventually occupying that ivory tower. They selfishly act to become more in charge, manipulating and pulling strings to make them so large. With little regard for what's wrong and what's right, they exercise control and wield frightening might. At a time when the world should be bettering itself, with innovation and invention, bettering our health, when the earth needs all the help it can get, the powerful men drag her deeper in debt. Are we progressing or regressing? Are we moving ahead? Better standards of living or nearer to dead? The powerful care not for the goodness of man. They wreck civilizations wherever they can. War and warmongering is wrong yet it lives. Abuse all the blessings the world has to give. and leave waste and ruin behind in their wake, till the world has nothing left for them to take.
Whoa, yeah. Oh, yeah. Holy jeez. Dark.
Usually in things like a Facebook post or something that, if you'll pardon my French, fuck Putin, that's usually how I end
Yeah.
it.
No, and it comes out in there. And that's the whole idea. When you express yourself, you got it on paper, and there's a nice cadence to it. It flows. It would be easy to put music to that.
Protest song, Eve of Destruction.
Yeah? Yeah, oh, yeah, even destruction, that's,
So we have 2 English teachers now.
Great song, yeah.
who is that again, Eve of Destruction? That's
What the heck was his name?
not Arlo Guthrie?
No.
No.
He yeah, he didn't have a whole bunch of hits, but,
No, he was actually a studio musician. They brought him in because his voice was so powerful. Oh, what the hell's his name? You're on with it.
yeah. Anyway, that's what we have the internet for, to look it up. What's his name, McGuire?
Barry McGuire. That's it. Yep.
C'est quoi le premier nom? Gary? Barry
The other
McGuire.
one is a Vietnam song that was at the big festival there in the 60s.
Woodstock.
Woodstock, yeah.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah, or you'd say Woodstock.
4 Dead in Ohio.
Yeah, that's a very short song, says a lot. There's one song, what is it? All he does is sing freedom, freedom.
Jesus.
It's his name.
Yeah, the first guy who plays at this time.
He's an African American.
Richie Havens?
Richie Hayes.
Richie Havens, that's the one. And all he says is freedom, freedom, but he does it with so much power and the music, and it just drives it. And all it is one word. So, Art, you can, Wesley?
I think I'm gonna pass this on.
Okay, that's fine, okay. So, don't forget, don't judge. Ours is not to judge or criticize our own work. Leave that to the critics. Okay? Some people will like it, it's like, unless you're a real fan of somebody, and it's more of songs, you might gravitate to some songs that they do, and then other songs you'll go, I don't like, it doesn't speak to me. And then somebody else will say, yeah, but that song for me, it's like, so, yeah. Good job, everybody, yeah. Bravo. Good job. Fait que, bonne fin de semaine, have a good weekend, and we went a little bit beyond our time, but à la semaine prochaine.
Merci.
All right.